I didn't slash her tires. I didn't scream at her front door at 3 a.m. like a desperate ex. I didn't even send a nasty text message. I simply sat in my car, watched the lights go out in the apartment I paid for, and realized that my entire life with Emily had been an expensive lie. She thought blocking me on every social media platform, blocking my number, and erasing me from existence was a power move. She thought she could just ghost me after 3 years because she found someone more exciting. She forgot one tiny, insignificant detail in her grand plan to upgrade her life. She forgot that her credit score is 530, and the only reason she has a roof over her head is because my signature is on the lease as her guarantor. She wanted space. I decided to give her the ultimate space, the sidewalk. It took me exactly 5 minutes to destroy her world. I drove home in silence, the kind of cold, deafening silence that rings in your ears when your adrenaline is maxed out. I opened my laptop, pulled up the lease agreement from the folder labeled Our Future, ironic, I know, and found the clause. Clause 14A, the guarantor withdrawal provision. It wasn't immediate. I wasn't going to be a monster and throw her out in 24 hours. No, the contract said I could withdraw with written notice, giving the tenant 7 days, one single week, to provide a new qualified guarantor, or vacate the premises immediately. 7 days. That was just enough time for the panic to set in, for the reality to crush her, and for her new man to realize he was dating a homeless liability. I typed the email to her landlord, Mr. Wilkins. Subject: Immediate withdrawal of guarantor status, Unit 318. Dear Mr. Wilkins, effective immediately, I am formally withdrawing as the financial guarantor for Emily Carter. I will no longer cover any liabilities associated with this lease. Please initiate the standard protocol for an unsecured tenant. I hit send. It was 11:42 p.m. on a Thursday. I poured myself a whiskey, turned off my phone, and slept like a baby for the first time in weeks. To understand why I did this, you have to understand the level of disrespect I was dealing with. This wasn't just a breakup. This was a demolition of my dignity. Emily and I had been together for 3 years. I'm David, 31, working in operations, boring, stable, good money. Emily, 28, was an aspiring content creator, which basically meant she worked part-time at a cafe and spent the rest curating her Instagram. I didn't mind. I loved her. I wanted to take care of her. When she found this dream apartment in the city center, a loft with exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, rent at $3,700 a month, she cried because she couldn't get approved. Her income was laughable compared to the rent. I stepped up. Of course I did. I put down the security deposit, $4,900. I paid the first and last month's rent up front. I signed the guarantor papers because I thought we were a team. I thought this was us. Fast forward to last month. She started getting distant. The classic signs. She was working late. She was tired. She started hiding her phone screen. When I tried to talk about moving in together officially when my lease was up, she got weird. She said she needed autonomy and that I was being suffocating. Then came the ghosting. Last Wednesday, I texted her to see if she wanted dinner. Delivered. No read receipt. Called her, straight to voicemail. I checked Instagram. I couldn't find her profile. I checked Facebook. Nothing. I asked a mutual friend, Rachel, if Emily was okay. Rachel acted weird, mumbled something about Emily going through a lot, and hung up. I panicked. I genuinely thought something had happened to her. I drove to her place, our place practically, and used my key to get into the lobby. I went up to the 5th floor. I didn't even get to put my key in the door. I could hear them from the hallway. Music, laughter, and then a voice that definitely wasn't mine. A deep, arrogant laugh. I knocked. The laughter stopped. Footsteps approached the door, and it swung open. Standing there was Tyler.
I knew who he was immediately. He was the fitness trainer she'd started following 2 months ago. The guy she said was just super inspiring. He was shirtless, wearing sweatpants, holding a beer. My beer, the imported stout I had stocked in the fridge last week. "Can I help you, bro?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe like he owned the building. I'm looking for Emily, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Emily appeared behind him wearing one of my oversized hoodies. When she saw me, she didn't look sorry. She looked annoyed, like I was a door-to-door salesman interrupting her dinner. David, seriously, she sighed, crossing her arms. I blocked you for a reason. I can't deal with this right now. You just showing up here, it's toxic. This is exactly why I need space. You blocked me? I asked, looking between her and Tyler. You couldn't just break up with me? You just blocked me? I didn't want the drama, she snapped. And now you're here causing drama. Tyler and I are seeing where this goes. Please just leave. You're embarrassing yourself. Tyler smirked. That smirk is burned into my brain. Yeah, buddy, she asked you to leave. Don't make me call security. Security? In the building I secured for her? Okay, I said. I looked at Emily. You want me gone? I'm gone. Good luck, Emily. Whatever, she said, and she closed the door in my face. I heard the lock click. Then I heard Tyler say, "What a loser," followed by her giggling. That was the moment the love died and the cold mechanical rage took over. That was the moment I decided she didn't just deserve a breakup, she deserved a reality check that would hit her bank account harder than she hit my heart. The fallout didn't start immediately. Thursday passed, Friday passed. I knew Wilkins, the landlord, was a stickler for rules. He wasn't the type to email. He was a formal letter type of guy. He would process my withdrawal, check Emily's file, realize she was underqualified, and send a formal cure or quit notice via courier. Friday morning, my phone blew up. I was in a meeting when I saw my screen light up. Emily blocked it, went to voicemail, then again. Then a text from a number I didn't save, probably Tyler's phone. Then Rachel, the friend who lied to me. I stepped out of the meeting and checked my voicemail. David, what the hell is this? I just got a letter from Wilkins. He says I pulled the guarantee. He says I have 7 days to find a new guarantor who makes 40 times the rent, or I have to leave. Are you insane? You can't do this. Call me back right now. Her voice was shrill, panicky. The arrogance from the hallway was gone. I didn't reply. An hour later, an email from her. Subject, you are ruining my life. David, I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing, but this isn't funny. My parents can't sign for me. Their credit is maxed out. You know that. You promised you'd help me with this place. You're making me homeless because I moved on. That is financial abuse. Fix this now or I'm telling everyone what a psycho you are. I laughed out loud in the office break room. Financial abuse. The audacity was breathtaking. Then came the message from Tyler. He texted me from his number. Yo man, low blow. You're messing with a girl's housing situation. That's weak. Be a man and handle your heartbreak without being a puss. Put your name back on the paper. We can talk about you getting your deposit back later, but don't kick her out. I finally responded, not to her, to him. Tyler, since you're the man of the house now, surely you can sign as the guarantor. The rent is $3,700. You need proof of income, roughly $148K a year. If you can't afford it, maybe you guys shouldn't be living there. Not my problem anymore. He didn't reply. I knew why. Tyler was a fitness influencer with 5,200 followers and a leased Mercedes. He probably didn't have $600 in his savings, let alone the credit history to back a luxury loft. Saturday came and the clock was ticking. She had until Tuesday to fix it or get out.
The texts shifted from anger to bargaining. David, please, I'm sorry about how it happened. I was just scared to hurt you. Can we meet for coffee? I miss you. This whole thing with Tyler isn't even serious. I was just confused. Don't throw away 3 years over a mistake. I love the apartment. It reminds me of you. Please.
It reminds me of you. That line almost made me vomit. It reminded her of me because I paid for every single thing inside it. I responded to her email with a single attachment, a spreadsheet. Subject, property recovery schedule. I listed every single item in that apartment that I had purchased. The Sony Bravia TV, $2,200. The Pottery Barn sectional couch, $3,800. The Shark vacuum, $650. The Nespresso machine. The rug Tyler was standing on with his muddy shoes. The bed frame, the mattress, even the pots and pans. Emily, I am not resigning the lease.
The withdrawal is final. Since you will be vacating, I will be collecting my property this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. I have attached receipts for every item listed. Have the door unlocked, or I will bring the police for a civil standby to ensure I can retrieve my belongings without incident." The threat of the police shut her up. She knew she couldn't win this. Sunday morning was the climax. I rented a U-Haul and brought two of my biggest buddies from the warehouse, Ryan and Kyle. We pulled up to the building at 9:50 a.m. When I walked in, the apartment was a wreck. Boxes were half-packed. Emily was sitting on the floor crying. Tyler was leaning against the kitchen island trying to look tough, but he wouldn't make eye contact with Ryan or Kyle. "You're actually doing this?" Emily sobbed, looking up at me with mascara running down her face. "You're taking the bed. Where am I supposed to sleep for the next 3 days?" "Ask Tyler," I said, not missing a beat. "Tyler looks like a resourceful guy. Maybe he has an air mattress." I pointed at the couch. "Ryan, Kyle, grab that first. Be careful with the corners." We stripped the place. It was surgical. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I just reclaimed my life piece by piece. Tyler tried to stop me when I went for the TV. "Bro, come on. The game is on later," he muttered, stepping in front of the wall mount. I stopped and looked him dead in the eye. "Tyler, this TV costs more than your car payments. Step aside, or I add assault to the police report I'm happy to file right now." He stepped aside. He was a coward. They always are. As we were hauling the mattress out to the elevator, the neighbors were watching. I saw Mrs. Lopez from 417 peeking out. Emily was mortified. She stood in the empty living room, now just a wood floor and an echo, and screamed at me. "I hope you die alone. You're a bitter, sad old man. You bought all this stuff to buy my love anyway." I turned back at the door, holding the last box, my collection of jazz records she claimed to love but never listened to. "I didn't buy your love, Emily," I said calmly. "I rented it, and the lease is up." The door clicked shut, but I wasn't done. The financial knife had to be twisted one last time. She moved out on Tuesday. She had to. She had nowhere else to go and no one to sign for her. She ended up crashing on Tyler's couch in his studio apartment, which I heard from Rachel was a cramped basement suite that smells like damp gym clothes. Paradise. A month later, I got the final statement from the landlord. Because she had broken the lease early, forced eviction, there was a penalty fee of 2 months' rent plus damages. The deposit I had paid, the $4,900, was swallowed whole by the landlord to cover the broken lease fee and the cleaning costs. But it wasn't enough. There was still a balance owing of $2,100 for the remainder of the lease break penalty and some damage to the hardwood floors, scratches from where I assumed they dragged their crap out. Since I was no longer the guarantor, the debt was solely in her name. But the landlord sent me the check for the remainder of the deposit, which was zero. In fact, he sent a bill for the overage. However, I had covered my bases. I had sent a certified letter to the landlord clarifying that the deposit was my funds, and while I forfeited it to cover the rent, any damages caused by the tenant were her liability. I decided to sue her in small claims court. Not for the rent, I'd let that go as the cost of a lesson learned, but for the $4,900 deposit that was used to pay her debt. My argument was simple. I paid the deposit as a security for the unit, intending to get it back. Her actions, defaulting on the lease, caused me to lose my money. I served her the papers at Tyler's gym. That was a nice touch. A process server walked right up to her while she was filming a couple's workout with Tyler and handed her the envelope. She called me 10 minutes later, screaming, "I don't have $4,900, David. You know I don't. Tyler and I are barely making rent." "Sell the Louis Vuitton bag I bought you," I suggested. "Or maybe Tyler can pick up a few extra shifts." She didn't show up to court. She couldn't afford a lawyer, and she was too scared to face me. Default judgment in my favor, $4,900 plus court costs. I know I'll probably never see the money. Garnishing her wages would take years given how little she declares from her freelance work, but it's not about the money.
It's about the fact that every time she tries to take out a loan, get a credit card, or sign a lease for the next 7 years, that judgment will be there, a big red flag on her credit report that says risk. I heard from Rachel recently. Apparently, the romance in the basement studio didn't last long. Tyler got tired of Emily complaining about the lack of space and the fact that he couldn't fund her lifestyle. He dumped her 3 weeks after the move. She's back living with her parents in Pennsylvania, working at a diner to pay off her credit cards. As for me, I'm sitting in my new place, a place I own. The Pottery Barn couch looks great in my living room. The TV is mounted perfectly. It's quiet, no drama, no lies, no freeloaders. Sometimes late at night, I check my blocked folder. There are dozens of messages from her. Apologies, insults, begging. I never read them. I just delete them. It cost me $4,900 and a broken heart to learn my worth. But watching her face when I took the bed, that was priceless. The best revenge isn't keying a car or screaming in the street. The best revenge is paperwork, patience, and the absolute certainty that you can rebuild your empire while they were just a guest in it. I'm finally debt-free in every sense of the word.